According to sources, there have been 85 caution-free cup races in the history of NASCAR. Of course, the record keeping back in the day was spotty, so it's not sure if this is the actual number or not, but of those 85, only 9 have been after the 1972 modern era realignment, with the last being in 2002. It's the equivalent to me of a perfect game in baseball, except instead of one team in particular having that perfect game, it's the entire competition. Every competitor was out there and did not make that mistake that ended up screwing the field. Since the 2002 race we'll talk about in a bit, there have been 7 races that have come close. In 2012, Auto Club had no yellows until the rain came well after the halfway point. And while it's hard to guess, you could probably say that this race could have went all the way. The Indy Road Course and Watkins Glen races in 2023 had 1 caution as well, both of which coming either early, like in the case of Indy, or due to somebody running out of fuel in case of the Watkins Glen race. These were in the brief time that NASCAR allowed stages to run without the caution flying. And 4 races since 2019 have had only their 2 stage yellows. While there's no telling if they would have went green, there were no other cautions outside the manufactured ones. But of the 9 races going back to go caution-free in the modern era, 1 was at Texas World in 1980, 1 was at North Wilkesboro in 1992, 2 were at Riverside in 1977 and 79, and 2 were at Michigan in 1973 and 1999. But 3 of the last 4 races that have went caution-free in the history of the Cup Series came at Talladega in 97, 2001, and of course, that 2002 race, the last caution-free race. It doesn't seem real, with just how Talladega is, with big ones, close finishes, and just in all honesty, weird-ass things happening at the 2 2/3 mile racetrack. But from 1997 to 2002, 25% of Talladega races had no cautions. Why? Well, there are a couple reasons, and whether it be individual for those races or the era, the first of which being driver etiquette. When you compare it with today, the drivers generally took care of each other more. It wasn't as much of a checkers or wreckers attitude, even if they said it was. Just finishing was honestly more incentivized and more of an accomplishment than just where you finished. Taking care of the car was also more incentivized, as a lot of these teams weren't working on the big budgets that they would be working on in the years afterwards, as well as that they have today. And also taking care of the cars was more incentivized because that's what these drivers had to do growing up. They had to take care of their cars instead of just wreck them for the win. Also, the cars, too, were part of it. The cars were slower and more spread out. Faster, more clustered together cars that you can't have much maneuverability lift are prone to wrecks and mistakes and desperate moves. If you can't make many moves, you're desperate to make any move. If you're so close together so fast, you're more prone to somebody bumper locking and making a mistake, which is more prone to the wrecks. And when you're faster, the aero issues, while that little much more faster, are that little much more exacerbated. What's interesting, though, is that all 3 of these races differed in one way, too. 1997, compared to 01 and 02, had different packages. The Superspeedway races in the 90s were more spread out. The cars definitely weren't going to be in as much of a pack for the entirety of the day, and you'd have a lot more single-file lines and small groups of drafters rather than 30 cars in the pack. With only a few engine issues during the day and an insane pace from Dale Earnhardt, who led the most laps, and eventual winner Mark Martin of over 188 miles per hour, and the spread out nature of the event with only 15 on the lead lap, there wasn't as many opportunities for mistakes to cause cautions, and there was at least the luck factor too of no fluid getting on the track with engine issues. This also broke up the pack, kept it clean, and kept them green all the way. It'd be 4 years before we would see this again in 2001, the 2001 Talladega 500, that is. This would be the same package that we saw at Talladega in 2000 for the most part, as well as in 2001's edition of Speed Weeks. The Speed Weeks ones were wild. You had crazy crashes, great racing, and a lot of 3-wide spread out through the pack racing as well. And at Talladega in the fall before, you had a lot of that, but at the same time, people forget that you had a very long green flag run to start that race. That race too could have easily went caution-free. Where this one I think is different is that a majority of the pack actually stayed together, jockeying for the lead and for position. And at the finish, 40 of the 43 cars were within 2 laps of each other. And you also had about 25 or so on the lead lap. The finish was 3 and 4 wide, with racing all through the pack, and no wreck at the finish. A lot of respect, a lot of crazy racing, and a lot of drivers who just wanted to make it to the finish after what had happened at the most previous restrictor plate track. Honestly, I think this might be one of the most impressively run races in the history of NASCAR. To be that close together with a pack that incentivizes a lot more of bonsai crazy moves, and still to make it all the way. The 2002 EA Sports 500, of course, was the last race to go caution-free in NASCAR history for the Cup Series at this time. This was a mix to me of both the 2001 and 1997 events. It was definitely more spread out with more DNFs like 1997. Hendrick especially had a nightmare with the engines. All 4 of their main cars blew up. But it also was really spread out at the front with a lot more lead lap guys. The finish ended up being a fuel mileage race, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. would win over Tony Stewart running on fumes. It was one of the most interesting races definitely to look at, and it's surprising that so many people don't talk about this one anymore. While it might not be as impressive of a racing feat as 2001's race, it still was pretty damn good. Honestly, for me, it raises a lot of intrigue. Will we ever see something like this again? Especially at Talladega. See, at the moment, we probably won't. Under the current rules, NASCAR will throw 2 yellows a race for stage cautions. If they change the rules at some point and get rid of the manufactured yellows, then maybe this could happen. After all, the road course races have had multiple times where they've been close. Most recently, 2024 at COTA, with no cautions outside of the stages. But the problem is that the drivers as well as the cars will be closer than ever, and somebody is bound to make that bonsai crazy mistake. There's a reason this has only happened so many times since the modern era realignment. And even so, people bring up stage racing, yet we have not had a caution-free race in any way before stage racing in 15 years. And when given the opportunity, they were both 1 away each time. So I want to pass it on to you. Do you think we'll ever see a Talladega race this clean again? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.